Hi, welcome to another lesson for the right hand technique for strumming the ukulele. Today we're going to talk about the free finger strum, and this is the basic way of starting out. From here you will start to evolve into other ways of strumming, but the basic idea and concept is that you want to get these ideas down and a strong foundation before moving on. Now, if you are already an advanced or intermediate student and you want to skip on to some of the other strums, but by all means do so. But if you are a beginner, a novice, I suggest you really pay attention to this lesson and hold this as your foundation before moving on to other lessons. Okay, so for the right hand technique, we're going to be using a free finger strum, and basically to start you off, what I like to do in letting my students know is that when you make a free finger strum, what you want to do is you want to make like a fist, but you leave your finger out here. Okay, next you want to make sure that your finger's curved. Okay, so my finger's curved, and most important, you want to make sure that the finger is firm. Okay, not too firm like it's very rigid, but just firm enough where you have control over it. Okay, and once again, and you just tuck in your fingers, put your thumb over, okay, and maybe try and just go over the ukulele a few times. You don't need to make a chord, just get the idea of how that finger feels when you're strumming over the strings. Okay, now as you are comfortable so that you know how it kind of feels and you know how much tension to leave in your finger, then you can start to relax your hand a little bit. But the main thing is that your finger is curved. The finger is curved, coming down. I'm going to explain more about that in a second. You might notice that when I'm doing the free finger strum, you notice my thumb is up. So you don't have to keep your thumb tucked down, covering your fingers. That's just to start you off to get the positioning and the feel of that finger. Okay? Now, when strumming, to find the position of that strum zone, what you want to do is you want to put the bottom of the ukulele into your forearm, the bottom of the ukulele into your forearm, let the forearm come down, let your hand come down and let it drop naturally to where it's comfortable. So in other words, it's the length of your ukulele, length of your arm, and positioning of the bottom of the ukulele into your forearm should determine where your natural strum zone is. Okay? That's mine. Some of you may have a concert ukulele or a soprano, so naturally that's a small ukulele. Now, you might find that the strum area is gonna vary. Next, you want to make sure that when you're starting out in your strum zone that you're within 3 frets, somewhere within three frets. So 1, 2, 3, wherever it is. So I'm gonna find my strum zone. So my strum zone is right about here. Now the goal of the finding the accurate strum zone is to really break it down into just 1 fret. So in other words, as I come down, my strum zone is right on this fret. So that's my goal in the long run, is to be strumming in this fret. And now keep in mind that as you progress and get better, your strum zone is going to vary from here to here, the length of the ukulele, depending on the type of sound that you want to create for your instrument. And we'll be talking about that in another lesson. However, focus on finding your strum zone within 3 frets, 1, 2, and 3, wherever it is, wherever your finger drops down naturally. And then once again, the long-term goal would be to have your strum zone within 1 fret. Okay? Now, keep in mind that the finger's firm and curved. Okay? So, if you were to look from the top, you notice that my finger is curved and it's coming down. So in other words, it should be, or it's recommended that you have a combination of maybe very little flesh and more nail. So you have kind of a brighter sound. So if you listen, if I strum with the flesh part of my finger, it's kind of a dull, rounded sound, whereas with the nail part, it's a little brighter. So you want to make sure that when your finger's curved enough so that you have a little bit of nail coming across the strings as you're strumming. Depending on how long your nail is will depend on how much you're curving your finger. Now, if you just keep your nails short and you don't want any fingernail while strumming, that's fine too. It's just an it's just an option for you to have, but it does have a little more versatile and brighter sound. Okay, next, when you're strumming the free finger strum, a couple of things you want to keep in mind as you're strumming down. So okay, first of all, let's start off like this. I'm pointing directly to my ukulele. Okay, so when you're strumming, you want to make sure that your finger's slightly pointed up, not a lot. It's slightly pointed up. So as you're coming down, it's slightly pointed up. Okay. And once again, you want to keep that finger curved, yeah? So as you're coming down, it's pointed slightly up. You see how it's not like this, it's more like this. Okay? Now keep in mind too that if you're doing the up and down strum or the up strum, when you're going upwards on the strings, your fingers pointed slightly down. Going down, pointed slightly up. Okay. So when you're doing the downward, the straight downward strum, your fingers are always pointing diagonally, slightly up. Okay. Now I'm not making any chords in this. I'm not making any chords in this lesson. I want you to really concentrate on the techniques and the suggestions that we're teaching you in this technique strictly for your right hand. In the other lessons, you have more opportunities to play different strums, different chords, etc. But for now, this is really concentrating on your right hand technique. Now, keep in mind if you're going to be doing an upward and downward strum, up and down strum, that you're pointing up when you're going down, and you're pointing down when you're going up. Once again, pointing slightly up when you're going down, pointing down when you go up. Now this should be a natural thing. It shouldn't be like you have to try. So in the beginning, so it should just flow like this. Okay, see, so if I'm slowing it down, as I go down, I'm pointing slightly up. As I'm coming up, I'm going slightly, pointing slightly down. See that? Up, meaning I'm pointing up, coming up, down. And once again, it should be a natural thing with your finger, okay? But that's basically what's happening with the positioning of the finger placement and how you're doing the strum. So keep in mind, this is the basic foundation for the free finger strum. From here, we're going to lead on to other techniques, but if you can kind of master the techniques we talked about in this lesson, it's going to be a lot easier when we move on to the various right hand techniques and different styles of using the right hand. So once again, you want to find your strum zone, okay, a comfortable area that it naturally falls to the neck, okay? See now how it naturally falls to the neck. You want to find your strum zone within 3 frets. The long-term goal is to find a strum zone within 1 fret. 1 fret, okay? But 3 frets is good for now in the beginning. To get comfortable, then break it down to 1 fret when you can. You want to keep your finger curved. You want to apply some fingernail to the string so that you can get a little brighter sound, and it just helps you and starts to teach you different subtle definitions for getting different sounds. Keep in mind that ukulele is a small instrument. It's very limited in the dynamics that you can do. So a lot of the dynamics, meaning a lot of the way that you present or try to get different sounds out of this instrument will depend on all the techniques that you're doing. So by learning these basic techniques, you start to evolve into other techniques that would bring out subtleties in the sounds of the ukulele. Okay, go ahead and listen to this lesson again, and when you're ready, go ahead and move on to the next right hand technique for strumming the ukulele.